Hey everyone, Ronus with the other rejects coming at you. Right before this video starts, we just wanted to talk to you guys about how we're trying to make some adjustments to the channel. There was a couple ideas we had for how we can make this channel more enjoyable and spread to a bigger community. The three options are right here for what you want to choose of how we're going to adjust the channel, or a combination of those three. Just let us know in the comments down below if that's something you're interested in, or if you like the channel just as it is. Thanks again for putting your input in, and please enjoy the video. Hi everyone, my name is Lucas, or Ronus with the other rejects, and thank you for coming to our overview and precursor to Worlds Adrift Island Creator and the Worlds Adrift game in general. Worlds Adrift is coming out in the next couple months and is being developed by Bosa Studios. You probably will know them from such games like Surgeon Simulator and I Am Bread, who are popular races that have come on Steam in the PC community. Worlds Adrift is a action player versus environment survivor slash builder game, in which you go from floating island to floating island, building up your ship, finding blueprints, and just basically exploring. Exploration is a very intense part of this game. Player versus environment's not very much like a survivor game like H1Z1 or DayZ. It's more like how environment can be a hazard and an inconvenience more than a threat to your life, unless you do crazy things like going into a sandstorm, which we will get into later as being gameplay aspects. As of right now, we're going to get into the Worlds Adrift Island Creator. The Worlds Adrift Island Creator released a few weeks ago, and basically this was a way for the developers to show what the game engine is capable of, and to let the players be able to create content that might be able to be seen in the game. We're going to start off with one of my builds that I have been working on for a little while. The Island Creator is a really good tool. It shows you all of the different capabilities that this game engine has at its roots, and what it's capable of, and how massive these islands can be. The one that I have right now is verging on kind of how large the islands can be. They might be able to get a little larger than this, but this is kind of how large they're able to be. But going into it, how it starts is you start with this kind of, it's called the terrain mode, but all it is you're basically putting building blocks together to get a general shape of the island that you're trying to create. You can see I have a half ellipsoid, a box, cylinder, and a red cylinder here, and those are the basic shapes that I started off with for this island. And you're able to create a whole bunch of ones. So like the half ellipsoid, like I said, spheres, boxes, capsules, ellipsoids, and the subtraction ones. And the subtractions ones are like this red one I am showing you. And what it does is it creates a empty space in the island that you're creating, that allows you to create tunnels and big tubes like this that you see, and just basically crevices, and help define your island a little more. And you can change different stuff like the noise levels, increases like how sparse, and it almost seems like an asteroid if you increase that so much. With the capsule, you can increase the radius, the length of which, and the position XY of it. Same with the length of the subtraction capsules, and with the size of the boxes and half ellipsoid. Once you get the basic shape that you like, you go past this into the sculpting mechanism. Sculpting mechanism is basically an advanced tool to further define what you want your island to look like. So getting into it, you have three different options that you can choose from. You have the carve option, add option, and flatten option. So we'll go basic and straight with the carve, increase the radius, and keep the power to 45. So you can see I'm able to easily kind of carve my way into this mountain space right here. I went a little far there because this is starting to get into my tube and I don't want it to do that. Actually, it's not really, but I still want to fix it because it went a little further than I wanted. So we could do that with simply the add tool. decrease the radius slightly, and just add a little bit. And you can do this all sorts of things. Like I use the carve. Let's see if I can orbit here. There we go. Oop. I use the carve tool to make a kind of sort of ramp here to, well, if I can get there. There we go. To separate this higher plateau from this lower level of the plateau. And then I also used it to further carve out this tube island of the island. Using the additional tool, you can do a lot of things. Like I used it to create these land ramps that you can see here that will make it so that the player doesn't have to use certain tools in the game to climb up. You can just simply go up. I also used the carve tool to make a slight tunnel to go down to this cliffside here. After you get past that, you get to the flatten tool, and this is probably one of the most versatile tools that I use. It's what allows me to create this kind of even plateaus and fields and such as. And how it works is you just basically change the flatten height, and you can see what the flatten height is going to be via this mesh. And then after that, you're able to increase the radius, and basically it flattens to whatever radius you had decided it to, which makes it really easy to make these plateaus and such as, which I believe make the island feel a little bit more livable, in case your players that are playing on this island are making bases and such as. It'll make it a little easier. Let me just carve this out real quick. Apologize. There we go. Once you get past this, you then get to the post-processing. Post-processing, all it is it's kind of cleaning up your island. If there's any mistakes that you made or anything that you kind of want to smooth out, you can do the smooth all, fix seams, and remove orphans. Orphans being the small little pieces of rock that you see here. So I could probably do that right now. Let's try removing orphans. Doesn't get it all the time, but it gets most of it. And there has been updates to this game engine and the island creator since last time it worked. So removed orphans. They actually created more rocks, but that's easy enough to get rid of. You just go to the carve, go perpendicular to where you actually want to erase from, so you don't have to change this, and remove them by using the carve tool. Easy enough to do. Anyways, after you get past the processing, which is like these two curvatures here, you get into the material painting. And if you've ever played either a Sims game or the new popular one that has this kind of feature in it is Planet Coaster, the newest game in the Coaster Tycoon series, made by the same devs but with a whole lot more features in it. This is just the basic painting tool that you see. What's cool about the painting tool is just how you're able to change what part of the island you want to be painting. So, for example, in order to paint this grass, I just chose the top of the material that I want to paint, and then did that. And what you can see is, even though it's letting me paint the top, since I only select the top, it doesn't allow me to paint the sides. Which just makes it easy to paint your plateaus without having it bleed over onto your sides. However, if I choose side, I'm actually going to choose rock and cliff so I'm not messing up. Increase the radius, increase the power. And let's see if you can actually see this. Maybe if I change it to it. Yeah, there we go. See, now you can see that it's allowing me to change the material that is on the side of it, and that basically goes for all of it. If you go on bottom, then you can change the bottom of the island without having it bleed over onto the side or top, and all just allows you to do a broad span of paint over everything. When you're making a layer, you can customize it quite a bit. You can change the tint, saturation, hue, and the value of it. And then after that, you can change just basically what it looks like for color-wise, and then change the tint. I mean, not the tint, the texture. Getting past that, then you can increase the scale, height multiplier, and height additive, which I basically just find useful for grass, just so that I can have a little bit more depth with my grass, just because I like high, tall grasses. So let me just show you, for example, say I wanted to make this kind of a cliff style rock. Let's make this a stone, and let's make this a rock desert cliff. Increase height multiplier, height additive, and back. So this is now allowing me to paint this, and I'm going to just do top for now, so it's not bleeding over as much as it was. So that just basically shows you how you're able to change it. And just like with any editor, if you just do Control Z, it gets rid of the progress that you made with that certain stroke. Sometimes it takes a little long, especially if you did a lot of things in one stroke, but it'll be able to fix itself quite. Here, one moment. I think it's actually Control Z to do multiple. Oh, yes, it is. To do multiple reverses on what you did. This would be easy enough for me to change, but I'm just seeing how well it works. Yeah, I'm just going to change it myself. Back to what it was. Anyways, once you get done painting, and see, that actually created a kind of cool... actually, I like that a lot. Here, one second. Sorry, guys. So yeah, that makes it look like a cliff or something like that more than it was. So that's actually kind of cool. So yeah, I might do that a little bit more, but I'll do that on my own time. Once you get past the painting tool, which there is the painting tool, erasing tool, which is actually what I probably should have done before, and the fill tool. Yet again, they all still give you the possibilities of top, side, bottom, and all, and they're pretty self-explanatory if you've used any editing tool or paint tool. Once you get past that, you get into the objects portion of the Island Creator, and what the objects portion allows you to do is, as it sounds like, is you're able to place objects that have been made by the developers for you to kind of make your island your own. I have placed some shrubs and some grasses in, but let's say I want to put some stuff from like a previous civilization. So I would go into ruins. Culture A is typically one of the ones that has a lot of stuff, but I don't like that one. Yeah, this would work. Then let's say I want to make you there. And let's put another one there. Now, one of the critiques I have for the game, and I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or if I've been missing something, but in order for me to edit an object, I have to place the object first and then have it and then edit it afterwards. I don't know if that's for a reason or something, but it just makes it very unintuitive and kind of slow for doing this. I do see why they would do it, maybe because so that you're not over placing objects, but my tube island's at 27% complexity, and you can see how large it is, even though it's not very complex. You can see that this can be a very complex island if you wanted it to be. So I'm going to see here. Edit this so it is about the same as that, and let's see if I can make an arch, just a simple arch. Aqueduct arch, that's probably what I'm looking for. So for example, I would place that, then let's cool, and then move this up. And I'm just going to place that there so that I can now place this, make them relatively the same height. And let's move this way so that they are in the same place. So you know, you can make pretty awesome objects just simply by doing this. And let's get these together. Cool. So that could go into this area, and then I can make a lot of different showings of civilization. Maybe there was a town or something before some mishap happened on this plateau. Once you get past that, there are a lot of different options just for what you're able to do gameplay wise, because one of the great things about this island creator is that you're able to test out your islands. So first off, we're going to get into its environment editor, so we're going to make it a little, we're going to make it light so I can see what I'm doing. Get rid of the clouds and get rid of the wind. This is really cool, so you can see just how dynamic you're able to make the scenery and make really pretty and beautiful experiences like that. But we're going to go into high noon. No, that is not an Overwatch reference, and I apologize for that. Okay, so what I did, sorry I did that fast, is you go into play mode, and then you can place yourself anywhere on the map and just start playing. So I'm actually going to get closer to the arch, and you're able to walk around and just play around on the map. You're not able to do everything in this mode. Those are reserved for like the alpha and beta, where you're able to create your airships and go places, but you're at least able to see size references and how it would be to maneuver around your island. And this gives you some scale to how big my island is, because here are the bushes over here, and the hill and the grass and the arch. This is how big the island is. And then when we go to where the person is, you can see that those bushes are actually relatively large compared to the avatar. The avatars are randomly generated in the island creator. However, obviously in the beta, I have heard plans from the developers that there is going to be character customization and such as, and obviously more gameplay mechanics for harvesting materials and just getting island to island. So one of the cool gameplay mechanics, you can see on my arm I have like some kind of rope thing, and any of you have seen gameplay already know that it is a grappling hook. There's a cool little let's see if I can actually get myself over that cliff, which is a cool little mechanic because it allows you to really traverse these islands rather quickly. And since I gather that this is going to be kind of a dungeon-ish, ooh, I knocked myself out. Dungeon-ish game, it creates a hurdle for developers to try to create hard dungeons that are hard to traverse, even though we have tools that come off to us right off the bat, like this grappling hook. And there are like gliders in the game that you can use. They do slowly have to decrease elevation over time, but they're still there, so it makes it even harder to create kind of difficult areas for people to get to. But that's one of the cool aspects of the game. Here, let me show you a different way that I can use my web slinger. Well, I'll place my person on this path. Hopefully it, yep, cool, that worked without a hitch. So you see, and I easily was able to get myself down to this level from all the way up there. It also allows you to get to, from ship to ship if you have a fleet or something with your friends going on, or be able to bring your ship into port, or just different mechanics such as that. There's a really fun mechanic. There was one of the dev blogs that happened is they had like a pseudo New York City, and they were acting like they were Spider-Man, which was kind of cool that they were allowed to do. Going into the mechanics of the full-fledged game even more so. So obviously I have seen from gameplay the ship creator, which I really like, and the mechanics revolved around that. To someone like me who's really into movies like Castle in the Sky and animes like Path of Exile. No, not Path of Exile. That's a game. Last Exile, a airship game like this is really a dream come true. But to other people, people that are just going to be seeing this on Steam, mechanics that you'll be really familiar with are the building mechanics. You're able to obviously make the ships, gather resources, and just have a fun time exploring, which you see in a lot of games. But I think this one will definitely bring a new take on it to the table. Other mechanics besides obviously creating the ships that you're able to create bases on islands. So I've seen some small base building aspects, and then obviously you're able to create your airships and guns and weapons to face other players. And there just seems to be collision mechanics between ships. There's been some screenshots of some awesome collisions between massive airships and the destruction that they bring. There's not a lot of aspects that I see that I would like rather have in the Worlds Adrift so far. As I said, it's not a really environmental being a possible death scenario for you. It's more as you have to just maneuver your way around the environment to get to further yourself and such as like that. But I think it would be interesting if they did have a game mode or servers that are available in case people wanted that, where there are hazards, there are creatures that you have to hunt for food and stuff, and there are creatures that you have to face and they will hurt you, but it's something you can either avoid or that can be easily fought off if you have a big enough ship. But that's nothing big, at least for me. It might be for other people, but for me that's not a really big mechanic that I would need as of yet, just because this game is so unique. And I believe that you could easily get, I would say, 50 to 60 hours of gameplay just from what I'm seeing from the alpha and beta for the game. Another thing that I might want to see in the game is, I haven't seen so far how the servers are going to be built, but my best guess is that the servers are going to be built similar to how H1Z1, DayZ, Player Unknown's Battlegrounds is built, where there's like a 60 player server or 60 plus player server, and that's where you go and do your ships and such as. And if you want to go on another server, you can and build a base and such as, kind of like Ark Survival Evolved. But what I would like is to see just how massive these maps are and how many players they can withhold. However, I do think that we're going to see that because the developers have talked about how in the beta they're only going to be giving out beta keys to certain amounts and groups of people, and see how the game handles it and how the mechanics work. Make changes if need be, and then release more keys and keep doing that in that style until they do the full beta release for everybody. So I think if they're doing that, they might be able to host more players. That's my hope, but I'm not sure. So going into the alpha and beta, I'm hoping to get some alpha and beta footage to you guys. I am talking to the developers. I don't know when I'll be able to get that out. If not the alpha, which is in process right now, alpha 6 is in process. Hopefully I'll be able to get one of the beta keys to show you guys the beta footage. I'll leave a couple links in the description in case you guys want to see that, because there are some really cool YouTubers out there that have been able to get into the alpha, and then you're able to see what it's like to build a ship and the mechanics around that. Thanks for coming in and seeing our video of Worlds Adrift, what we think of it. We're really excited for it. I think it's going to be a really good version of what we've been seeing for like survival player versus environment games so far, and it has a really interesting take, and I'm really excited to see where this game goes. And I have a lot of faith in the developer Bosa Studios in making this game. They made a lot of medium and small games so far, and I think this is a really big step. They make really quality games, so I'm really happy to see them making a game like this that I've been excited for and thought as a nerd myself making at some point. Thanks again, guys. I'll put a link in the description for those other videos for the alpha and beta that I was talking about. For you to possibly get into the alpha, it's Bosa Studios Worlds Adrift main webpage. They do give out alpha keys and beta keys every now and then on there, and if you sign up for their emails, they'll be able to give you more information on it. Thanks again for coming in. This is Lucas or Ronus from The Other Rejects, and as always, happy gaming.